All right, it is the Matt Mosley Show, and some of you, I want to let you know as we get in the 2 o'clock hour, Baylor basketball in a rough way right now. A really candid and straightforward Scott Drew on a lot of different fronts, discussing how Baylor has ended up here 1-5 to start the season. We're going to get to that, and that'll be in the 2 o'clock hour. And about 2:15, 2:20, we'll turn it over. And I was able to get with Scott earlier today, and we're anxious for him to join us and share that interview with you. I want to thank Mike Hamilton for helping me in that regard, get that executed, as we had to kind of work around Scott's practice schedule. They're getting ready to play the TCU Horned Frogs come to Waco, and that game will be Saturday. So there was a lot to discuss there. We'll have things on the Cowboys mock, but we do. And Kev, whatever alarms, whatever you want to put out there to let our Twitter audience know that we certainly are reacting to the breaking news. Kevin, did you ever find? Okay, that's still what we're going with. The breaking news sounder. The Cowboys have hired. In fact, I saw Todd Archer, longtime associate of mine, the Dallas Morning News. He's now with ESPN.com. He reported about 4 or 5 minutes ago, made it official that Christian Parker is going to be the new defensive coordinator for the Dallas Cowboys. They have taken a member of the rival, the hated Philadelphia Eagles coaching staff, and he is the passing game coordinator on defense for the Eagles, and he is now the defensive coordinator for the Dallas Cowboys. We'll be reacting to it. We will have a lot to say on this, and Cowboys, been looking at him for a while, and a first-time defensive coordinator is headed toward Dallas. Cowboys interviewed 9 candidates and then whittled down the candidates to 3 in-person visits. They also interviewed the Minnesota defensive passing game coordinator, Durante Jones, and then the former Cardinals head coach, Jonathan Gannon. And then you'll remember the Denver defensive passing game coordinator, Jim Leonard. Some of those were virtual interviews. And Parker, 34 years old. Wow, they've gone young at that position. Cowboys hiring this defensive coordinator. They had the good sense to break this news right as we were coming out. And so Kevin's getting the word out otherwise, and then letting our Twitter audience know that we are talking about this and reacting to this. He did help lead a secondary that played a significant role in the team's Super Bowl win last year. And then he'd been 3 seasons in Denver as the DB coach, the secondary coach there, before joining the Eagles to be with Vic Fangio. Vic Fangio bringing him to the Eagles. Fangio, who's been a thorn in the side of the Dallas Cowboys, first at Denver and now with the Eagles. And his Parker, I mean, if you look at the Eagles, they went heavy at cornerback in last year's draft. Cowboys will have that opportunity. I've been looking at who the Cowboys could take at 12 and who could they take at 20. I mean, at 12, this is going to be one of those interesting ones, because Jerry loves players that high value who have been injured, and there is one sitting up there that could go in that 12 to 13 range. And then Avian Terrell, who we've talked about as a possibility, is the Clemson player, and he could be down there around 20. Also, and we're going to talk about some of those players, because the mock drafts are starting to arrive, and Mel Kiper just came out with his mock draft. He gave the Cowboys an edge rusher at 20 and a linebacker at number 12. We'll have more on that as the day unfolds. Parker has helped develop star cornerback Pat Surtain. who eventually won Defensive Player of the Year last year in Denver. In Philadelphia, he was tasked with helping develop corners Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean, and they're the first 2 picks in the 2024 NFL Draft. All right, and they played a big time role in the Eagles' Super Bowl run. Christian Parker, there he is. This is your new defensive coordinator for the Dallas Cowboys. They had in the past, they had veteran Mike Nolan, veteran Dan Quinn, both guys that had been head coaches, veteran Eberflus. These are all coaches who were in their 50s. I'm trying to think how Dan Quinn. He's probably in his 50s when he came, and then Mike Zimmer, who was in his 60s, and now they have Christian Parker, and there he is in his Eagles garb at 34 years of age. First-time defensive coordinator. This will be very, very interesting. I mean, and they're probably going to need to pair him with, some veteran defensive coaches. It'll be interesting to see who he brings in here with him, who he's allowed to bring. I mean, at some point, the Eagles are going to want to put their foot down and go, we can't have our entire staff leaving, but he will want to bring people with him. And DeJean told reporters recently about Parker. I can say a lot of things about what he's meant to me and Quinyon. We've had a routine if we go meet with Parker 2 or 3 times a week to go over the team we're playing or go over different looks. I don't think I'd be the player I am or have the success I've had without him. He's poured a lot into me and Mitchell. I appreciate him for that. Not everyone notices him, and I don't think he gets the recognition that I think he should. Hiring Parker was the first step of what should be a very significant overhaul for the Cowboys defense. Headlined by Osa Odigizua, and then, of course, they traded for Kenny Clark, and then they traded for Quinnen Williams. Lots of defensive tackles. But the Cowboys, coming off a season, they allowed over 30 points per game. By a lot of metrics, worst defense in the league. And their 6 interceptions was the lowest they've had in franchise history for the Cowboys. And I remember when they interviewed, we were bringing in Eberflus. I remember at the end of this season when I was asked Jerry about, hey, has he started looking at these defensive coordinators? And he basically said, we will leave no stone unturned. We'll have everything you could ever want at our disposal when we look at these. We'll have every metric you could possibly have. Again, they end up with, Gannon would have been the more experienced former head coach. But again, they just tried that with Eberflus. They had done it with Quinn. They did it with Nolan. All these former head coaches, they tried it. Maybe this will be interesting to try something a little new. 4 DCs in 4 years, pretty wild to see. But there is the news. Cowboys, earlier today, all the headlines where they were working to hire Eagles Christian Parker as the new defensive coordinator. Now the Cowboys have made the hire, and that is big news on that front, as the Cowboys have hired a defensive coordinator in Christian Parker. And wow. On the heels of just a horrific season of defense, Cowboys have gone out and hired a new defensive coordinator, and one again that is not someone who has been calling defense, but is someone that has earned a great deal of respect across the league, and a young coordinator that and Tom Pelissero had this one of the first Wow. Tom Pelissero's with the NFL Network, and some of the Eagles DBs were reacting to this immediately. Cooper DeJean said, "Man, they got a great one. Wouldn't be the player I am without CP." All right, so we are starting to get some great reviews coming in um, uh, for uh, for these teams. Very, very interesting to see, and I think it's worth. I think what Christian Parker was doing with Denver, and then what he was doing with the Eagles. It's an unbelievable opportunity for him, and it's just interesting to watch all the reviews come pouring in. I know a lot of you are watching us on Twitter. If you want to comment on Twitter, just comment at me at Matt Mosley. Also, make sure you sign up for our YouTube page, and I think that would be great. So, wow, all kinds of things dropping as we speak. As for the first time since 1989, the Cowboys have had a first-time NFL head coach and two first-time NFL coordinators. Isn't that wow? That is really interesting when you kind of think about the way this thing's matched up. Christian Parker's time as an analyst at Texas A&M overlapped with Donovan Wilson's time as an Aggie. The Cowboys safety is heading into free agency, and this will be interesting to see the breakdown on this. Durante Jones, who we were just talking about, had a really good shot at the job. It appears he came in second. Jonathan Gannon had a lot of support early in the process, but was passed up after the second round of interviews. Cowboys find their guy, and to get him from a rival is very interesting. Also, from Nick Harris, covering the story for the Star Telegram, says Cowboys had a strong desire to speak with the Jim Leonhard again, but understanding that his situation could be more of a waiting game because the Broncos are playing this very weekend on Sunday in the AFC title game, and the other way around, most likely playing into the time of hiring Parker now, bird in hand. Parker is the comfortable choice. So they could have waited. That's still, even if they had waited on Leonhard for that game to be played Sunday, there was still no certain chance that they had him. And goodness gracious, what a day it has happened. We talked about early in the process about Brian Flores and what would be the Cowboys' interest in him and what would be his interest in the Cowboys. And it turned out, he went ahead and signed a new deal with Minnesota. It doesn't preclude him from becoming a head coach if somebody decides to try to fill their job with Brian Flores, but it does prevent another team from hiring him as a defensive coordinator. So again, this is it's not business as usual at all. Business as usual would have been Jonathan Gannon. It would have been hiring a former head coach or at least somebody with some defensive play calling experience. Cowboys are taking a chance that a young defensive coordinator, 34-year-old defensive coordinator, who a lot of people love, that he can learn on the job. Man, you got a play caller in Schottenheimer, who has been doing it for a long time, and that's fine. But again, the thought is they didn't want to. I think he was tired of holding the hand of Eberflus and having to be in all those defensive meetings. I don't think you just say, Christian Parker, here you go, buddy. Here's your defense, and I'll be back to check on you every now and again. this is going to be all hands on deck trying to get this guy ready to go. And the Cowboys, as they close in on Christian Parker, very, very interesting. I would say I like it because they're trying something new. I mean, Kevin, come on here with me for a second. I mean, if you think about it, and you've seen Eberflus and others, you've seen what the defensive coordinators look like with the Indianapolis Colts, because that's you covered. That's the team you talk about a lot. It's more comfortable to bring in people who have done this job before and have been play callers. That said, time and time again, it has not worked for the Dallas Cowboys. Now, I would say Dan Quinn did work. They had tons of takeaways. He put up good numbers, and then he got to go be a head coach again with the Washington Commanders. So I think you have to say that with Dan Quinn, it absolutely worked.
I would say so. I mean,
I'm telling you, this is a way outside of the box hire. It's also interesting because over the years, Jerry Jones, for whatever reason, has not had minority coordinators. And Brian Stewart was. Wade Phillips brought him when Wade Phillips came to the Cowboys to become the head coach in the 2007 season after Bill Parcells retired, and he brought Brian Stewart in to be his defensive coordinator. It did not last long. It doesn't mean anything. I don't know why that has not been the case over the Cowboys. Now, they briefly, under Parcells, had Mo Carthon. Mo Carthon was obviously, you remember him, those of us who've been around for a while remember him playing for the New York Giants back in the day, and briefly served as an offensive coordinator. But I'm just saying, this is, I think it's a great day. I think it's a great day for the Cowboys. I think it's a great day for young coaches that are looking to break through and have opportunities in a place that, especially with the Cowboys, that prefers usually retreads. But, Kevin, we can like this, and we can think this is inspired, but this is outside the box, and this is taking a chance.
Well,
Cowboys always like.
I would say, back when Sean McVay got hired for the Rams, nobody thought everybody thought, oh, wow, he's too young. He's all these different things. And then it worked. And then it's trying to do that. Now, no one has ever really tried to do that on the defensive side of the ball, to my knowledge. You could say Tomlin back in the day, but I don't know anybody who's really gone after the younger side, innovative thinker on the defensive side. Correct me if I'm wrong here. If you can come up.
No, Tomlin's a good name though, because Tomlin had come up under Tony Dungy, and Tomlin was probably only 34, something like that, when he got that job with the Steelers. He had it for 19 seasons. So I think I might have my timing right. I think he was about 34 years old. So that's a fair name. That's a fair name to bring up, is Tomlin. In terms of other young, I mean, I'll tell you what was an outside the box. He was not quite as young as Tomlin was, but he was in his 40s. And that was John Harbaugh, who was not a defensive coordinator, but he was a special teams coach for the Philadelphia Eagles. And when the Ravens made him their head coach, it's kind of like, whoa, what's going on? This is interesting. That was a little bit outside the box. It's a guy who had not called plays on either side of the ball, and they brought him in, and he turned out to be a great leader. Tomlin turned out to be an incredible leader for a long time. I know it didn't play out at the end the way they wanted it to, but hey, the Steelers, no matter how bad their quarterback was, or no matter how bad their team was, some of their personnel, their floor was always relatively high. It was not an organization that really bottomed out. And in fact, when he did have like a down season, maybe a 500 season mixed in there somewhere, where the Rooney family stuck with him. The Cowboys do not stick with defensive coordinators. And with all due respect to the young Christian Parker, If they're horrible next year, they'll be looking for another one, and then we'll be asking them for go get a veteran. Go get someone who was a former head coach. Go do the thing that you used to do that didn't work. Again, Dan Quinn did work. Mike Nolan was a disaster. Mike Zimmer and Eberflus. Mike Zimmer had to play several games without Micah Parsons. When Parsons was back, he actually put up great numbers and they were fine. Eberflus never got to coach a game with Micah Parsons. Trayvon Diggs wandered around all season, then hit his head on something there at the house. All right, so somewhat unfair to both Zimmer or Eberflus, but as they say, them's the breaks. Them are the whatever the saying is. Them's the breaks. The life's not fair. All right, as one of my old colleagues used to say, the fair only comes around 2 weekends in October. Maybe it's 3 weekends. Talking about the state fair. But the Parker will have an opportunity. Man, I mean, think about stepping into this, a draft where you have the number 12 pick and the 20th pick, and the Cowboys have a scouting department, and they have Will McClay, and they have Jerry, and they have Steven, and they have Shoddy in the room. But the young Parker's going to want to get in here and go, I want to have a say. And this is a big-time secondary guy. All right? And that was his expertise. That is his part. That's what he coaches. And as we were just saying, those Eagles took 2 cornerbacks, and they've had some success with it. And I was just looking at who the Cowboys could take at 12 and 20 that are that fit that bill. But let's look at some of these mock drafts, for instance. If the Cowboys wanted a cornerback at 12, they could take Mansour Delane from LSU. All right. PFF has him at number 14 on their big board. That could be a pick at 12. Then you could turn around and take another cornerback if you wanted. Avion Terrell from Clemson, the number 18 on the PFF big board. Avion Terrell could be available right there. There's another guy right around 13 or 14 who had an ACL last January. He's from University of Tennessee. He's a guy that's going to maybe get taken in that top 15. He didn't play a lick this past season, but remember, Micah Parsons, when they took him, sat out his entire COVID season with Penn State. They took him. He was unbelievable. You may not like his attitude, but he's one of the great players in the NFL. So let's not act like they didn't hit on that draft pick. Wow. Man, what a way to start the show. Cowboys get their man, and Christian Parker, boy, just keep putting his name right up there. Christian Parker, the new defensive coordinator for the Dallas Cowboys. Want to remind you, and let's see, Scotty. We got so many Scotties. Is this our Scotty? This is another Scotty, I think. We have a lot of Scotties that follow us, but Scotty's weighing in via our YouTube channel. Always sign up for YouTube. I'll tell you what, I'm going to gather a couple more nuggets, a couple more notes on Christian Parker, and then I got pros and cons. Okay, I'm gonna start with the positive. Several positives that I'm hearing about Christian Parker that I've been hearing. Hey, I'll tell you one positive. He comes from the enemy. He comes from Fangio. Fangio stuck it up the Cowboys yin-yangs, and he put it on the Cowboys when he was coaching at Denver. And, he joked about it. He talked about it. He knew exactly what to do against those Cowboys. This quarterback, this defensive coach will, man, and he will know. Christian Parker will know. Listen, I got to take care of the back. What's interesting is he's more of the Zimmer. People don't get scared. Zimmer had a lot of great years. as a defensive coordinator, and he came from a secondary background, the DBs. That was his love. Going back to coaching Dion, this Christian Parker comes from that world, building from the back to the front. I can think of great college coaches like Saban. I can think of Gary Patterson, the old longtime TCU coach. They loved coaching the cornerbacks, the safeties, and they always kind of built from the back up. All right, and that is what the Cowboys have, is someone that has come up from that family. Doesn't mean they're not going to take great edge rushers and try to build a great pass rush. It's just that that's kind of where their sensibilities are when it comes to the back end of those defense. I got lots of thoughts. I got lots of feelings on Christian Parker, Cowboys' new defensive coordinator. I'll share more with you as we continue right here on the Matt Mosley Show on the Rogue Media Network.
When you strive for greatness, you have a target on your back. When it comes to finances, we're all targets for scammers. But with the right game plan, you can protect yourself. Don't get faked by fraud.
Here's a tip. If you get a call saying they're going to lock you in jail for missing jury duty unless you pay a fine, that's fake. Scammers use scare tactics to force you to act without thinking. Just hang up the phone.
This message is brought to you by Central National Bank.
If you want the best for your body, you want Ascension Providence, the largest sports and orthopedics group in Central Texas. Using innovative and cutting-edge technology, we're able to understand your body better than ever, delivering treatment with precision. And with our fellowship-trained and board-certified doctors, you'll receive excellent care. Work with a team dedicated to your health, wellness, and safety.
So you can perform
At your best.
Ascension Providence, caring for Texas families for over 120 years.
Streamline event and appointment booking with Amelia's sleek, modern, and fully customizable booking forms. WPAmelia.com. That's WPAMELIA.com. Amelia. Nalgene Outdoor has been your trusted companion, fueling adventures and helping protect the planet. We're committed to reducing waste, improving access to clean water, and providing simple, safe, and sustainable products for you and your family. NALGENE.com.
A house is a property, but we live in homes. Home sweet home. Homes where the heart is. We aim to deliver the best home buying and selling experience so you can spend less time real estating and more time living.
whypersonalloans.com. Request a loan anytime. Our partners can offer loans up to $35,000 with varying rates and terms. Review your loan offer with no obligation and decide what works for you. Visit personalloans.com today.
This is what $500,000 in a duffel bag looks like. Actually not real. That's because it's actually prop money. It looks realistic from a distance, but up close you can see it says for motion picture purposes. Visit propmoney.com today to get your money seen or money shot right with Prop Money Inc.
With San, owning iconic furniture no longer requires paying a premium. With over 15,000 satisfied customers worldwide, we've proven that high-quality furniture doesn't have to come with a high price tag. Explore our collection today at san.com.
The U-Like Air 3, launched in 2023, ushers in a new era of sapphire ice cooling technology, offering nearly painless hair reduction in just 3 weeks. That's ULIKE.com. U-Like.
VivoSun's mission is to empower growers with stylish and effective products, making indoor growing accessible and enjoyable for everyone. Visit vivosun.com today and get started making growing plants and vegetables easy and automatic.
All right, we are reacting live to this news of the Cowboys hiring a new DC in Christian Parker. And in fact, Kev, I'm putting a link out there as we speak to make sure our folks know via Twitter. My way is Twitter. I'm sure I should be on doing all the others and Instagram. And I try to stay off Facebook because then I feel compelled to wish everybody a happy birthday. There he is. There's Christian Parker in his Eagles gear. Don't be scared of that. He is coming over from enemy territory. The man just not far removed from a Super Bowl, served under Vic Fangio over there, so has been with an older, very experienced guy that served briefly, I believe, as a head coach, but Vic Fangio, known as a longtime defensive coordinator. And now Christian Parker gets his chance at a very young age. And he had really developed a great reputation. You can just simply look, Kevin, at what he's done with the defensive backs, some of the Quinion Mitchell and Cooper DeJean and some of those folks over there. Both those guys were developed into Pro Bowlers, and Cooper has been out there today, talking about how great a job that Christian Parker did with the young quarterbacks. He also helped the productivity of veterans like Darius Slay, C.J. Gardner-Johnson, and Reed Blankenship. All these guys are coming into my mind. One guy's 33, one guy's 32. I think it's Reed Blankenship. And then Quinyon's probably 27, number 27. So, on Twitter just a little while ago, Cooper put up there, wouldn't be the player I am without Coach CP. And this is someone that they had to have that the Cowboys over the weekend, they held in-person interviews with the Vikings pass game coordinator, Durante Jones, and met with former Cardinals coach Jonathan Gannon on Tuesday. And this is the first time since they brought in Monty Kiffin in 2013 that the Cowboys have not had a former NFL head coach as their defensive coordinator. Since that time, they've had Rod Marinelli, who had a disastrous time as a head coach at Detroit, Mike Nolan, who used to be with the 49ers head coach, Dan Quinn, Falcons, Zimmer, obviously the Vikings, Eberflus with the Bears. Some of these guys were disastrous head coaches. Some of them were fine. And Cowboys gave up over 30 points a game this past season, and a change had to happen. This is big. This is a big change. This is massive for Jerry. Someone way more comfortable with like the Wade Phillipses of the world. People that have been out there and doing it forever. Those are the people. He rarely takes a chance on first time anything. He did it with Jason Garrett back in the day, but he was homegrown. He was like a, favored son status with Jerry. This is different. This is obviously someone who blew them away in the interview process. All right. Look at him there in his, there he is in his Broncos gear. He now gets to come to a place. I mean, what an exciting opportunity. Your first chance, you're 34 years old. You've got 2 first-round picks. You might sit there and take 2 defensive players, although, Steven always wants to remind you if some unbelievable offensive player slips down there. If Dez Bryant or CeeDee Lamb slip down to 20, then they might have to take them. But you really need 2 defensive players. Let's not, be ridiculous about this. By the way, thank you, Central National Bank. Let me see CNB. Let me see that presenting sponsor down there at the bottom. Or at the top. All right, CNB. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Cannot wait to start running those new ones. And Kevin, that's going to be exciting to do that. With the Broncos, cornerback Patrick Surtain II and safety Justin Simmons earned all-pro honors with Parker as their position coach. His first time into the NFL, he broke into the NFL as a quality control coach with the Green Bay Packers in 2019 under Matt LaFleur. Golly, Matt LaFleur's been there That long since 2019? Really? Okay. All right. So anyway, there you go. And Christian Parker, now the defensive coordinator for the Dallas Cowboys. So point of order, get them in. Pour into the draft. Pour into free agency. When defensive coordinators show up on the scene, they usually like to come bearing gifts. There may be somebody he's had with him with the Philadelphia Eagles he wants to bring with him. Maybe he wants to bring some coaches. At some point, the Eagles will circle the wagons and go, we cannot lose everybody. We got to keep some of these people on Fangio's staff. But he will bring some folks with him, and this will be a fascinating situation to watch. He also gets to pour into the draft in the sense that Cowboys have the number 12 pick. Cowboys have the number 20 pick. And it'll be interesting because he'll have a lot of say. Again, he's not going to make the pick, but I can remember years ago, Rod Marinelli got to sit in there, and he had a tremendous amount of say who the Cowboys were picking. It was one of those drafts where they did go kind of all defense for the first 4 or 5 rounds, and I want to say that was under Marinelli. Now, again, Mike Nolan was only the defensive coordinator for like 1 year. Disaster. Same with Zimmer. Same with Eberflus. And if they're horrible next year, they'll be moving on from this guy too. But they're going to give him every chance. They talk about continuity, what they need, and they need to fill out around these 3 talented defensive linemen. They got the young Ezeraku, and they've got some decent edge rushers. Not great. Not great. All right. I mean, between Fowler and Sam Williams and Ezeraku, I mean, it's just not. And, the tragic loss of Nealon, obviously always comes to mind when I'm thinking about some of their younger players. But he steps into a situation where hopefully they'll be able to get some draft picks. And Jerry has said that he is willing to, quote, bust the budget on free agency. So they'll be out doing a little free agent hunting and trying to bring in defenders at that point. I think we just need to simply look at Fangio. I think back to what the Eagles have done over the years. I go back all the way to when I was watching the old Jim Johnson Eagles defenses, and Jim Johnson loved to blitz. Okay. Fangio, not as much. I love that Fangio, though. I mean, in his mind, he always felt like he could stick it to the Cowboys. Hey, the Cowboys have had plenty of success against the Eagles over the years. So I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, Christian Parker and that secondary always shut down the Cowboys, because the truth is they didn't. They didn't do that. Cowboys were 5-1. What were they this year? Because they lost to the Giants at the end of the season. So this year they weren't 5-1. They have gotten fat and happy, though, especially under McCarthy, off feasting on a weaker NFC East. As I've said to you, Harbaugh makes the Giants way more interesting and better. Eagles still have Fangio, and they still have Sirianni, and they still got enough players to be interesting, even though it always seems like their offensive players hate each other. Commanders will have Daniels coming back, and so you will have the ability to bounce back, only 1 season removed from playing in the NFC title game. Right now, Cowboys have to be considered probably, I think, going into next season. I mean, they should have a really good offense, but I think some people will pick them probably at best. They'll pick them 3rd. At worst, they'll pick the Cowboys 4th in the division. There is Christian Parker, the new defensive coordinator with the Cowboys. Give him points for trying something different, trying to identify a great young coordinator, a very talented young coordinator. Now, again, they're going to match him up with a guy who's in his 2nd year being a head coach. All right. It's not like they're matching him up with some old grizzled veteran, great longtime NFL head coach. So we shall see. I'm just trying to think of what I think of when I see Fangio defenses. I mean, you saw it. You saw what they try to do. They let their cornerbacks get very, very aggressive. I think one of the worst things about these Cowboys is they didn't know if they were a man team. They didn't know if they were a zone team. Diggs was complaining because he wanted to play more man. They tried to get him to play more man, but they ended up kind of drifting back into zone coverage. They'll have to play both under Parker. But I will just say, from how they run their defense, the players, it'll be so much more simplified, and the days of confusion and guys not knowing where they're going to go and not knowing how to play leverage on the back end, that is finished. Thank goodness that is finished. All right. They may still get beat. They may still make some bad plays. But as far as knowing how to play leverage on the back end and knowing how to play man, and then also knowing where their responsibilities are when they're in zone coverage. I need to look. I used to know in Denver what Fangio, kind of where he ranked in terms of blitzing. And I kind of know what the Eagles are known for over the years because I watched, the Giants, I watched Spagnuolo. With the Eagles, I didn't watch McDermott after Jim Johnson died. And then I've kind of watched the Eagles over the last several years. And so I need to look back and refamiliarize myself with just sort of the breakdown in terms of how much they rush the quarterback. What I remember about them, and they for a while were in the wilderness a little bit at linebacker, but then they've got Zach Bunn, and they've got some really good. They're good up front. And then, they started drafting those Georgia players, whether it was the big man up front or it was Nakobe Dean playing more of a linebacker role. They love SEC types, and that's fine. That's fine. When it comes to drafting defensive players, if you just want to sit there and draft a bunch of Georgia players, it's not the worst strategy in the world. All right. And the Cowboys, a team that has been enamored with drafting offensive linemen. And obviously, when it comes to drafting defensive linemen and cornerbacks, they generally don't always do it in that first round. Last year, they had Ezaraku in the second round, undersized edge rusher. Third round, they went with a guy that was a first or second round talent, but he'd been hurt and he'd been out for a long time, came from East Carolina, and that would be Siobhan Ravel. And he got exposed late in the season, but he should end up being pretty good for the Cowboys. So great to have you with us. Great to have everybody coming in on the Twitter Premium. And we would encourage you while you're here. We do a lot of Cowboys talk, and we do a lot of college football. And today in the 2:00 hour, we will play Scott Drew for you, the head coach of Baylor, because they're in a bad place. Scott was very upfront about where he is and about what he's trying to do and who he's reaching out to try to turn this team around. They are 1-5 to start the Big 12. This is a perennial top 10 program and one of the top teams over the years in the Big 12 conference, and they are in a bad way this season. It happens to people, and Scott is going to try to turn this around. And so I've been on the phone a lot today with Scott Drew. It's great to interview him and have him with me, and we'll have that at about 2:15 today. We'll talk about that. Christian Parker, the new defensive coordinator. Kev, while we have a large crowd, not that we don't always, but love when our Cowboys crowd comes heading in here, let's do some Campus Confidential. And what I'd like to do, what we do here is some of the big college, whether it be college basketball, college football, portal news, lawsuits. We got lawsuits. I did go to law school, so I could talk about those things. I'm still for Baylor suing Rob Wright. Is it too late to sue Rob Wright, who's now the point guard at BYU? Let's get a lawsuit going. I can put it together. I can have something filed by dinner time. All right, Kev. And Kev, by the way, for people new to the show, Kevin went to Indiana. He's in full Indiana garb because he should be. It's a huge week. It's a huge time. The Indiana Hoosiers, I keep thinking it's like a dream, but it's actually reality. I'm sure, Kevin, you wake up every day and remind yourself the Indiana friggin' Hoosiers are the national champions.
Yes.
And so
wait.
Yeah.
Who? Hoosiers.
That's right. 3 Who's, we're told. 3
That's
Who's.
right. Yes.
You know, the guy we're going to have on as a guest in the next hour grew up in the belly of the beast right there in Indiana and grew up with his father being the head coach at Valpo right there in that state. And then Scott actually went to college at Butler and would go on to become one of the great coaches.
What a great venue that is. Hinkle Fieldhouse in Indianapolis. It's where the Hoosiers movie was filmed. The state championship scenes were filmed there. I've been there on several occasions. I actually learned to drive in that parking lot of Hinkle Fieldhouse.
As did most of us. Wait, did you wait till you were in college to learn how to drive? Like, what was happening?
No. I grew up in Indianapolis, so that's where my dad took me to learn to drive.
Hinkle Fieldhouse, the historic.
Not on game day. Not on game day. That would be bad.
That's right. And so, at some point, about 15 years ago, Butler had that amazing run, and honestly, Baylor should have been in that Final Four because the Bears got robbed on a call against Duke in the Elite Eight. And if they had beaten Duke, they would have been in that Final Four with Butler. See, Baylor fans, remember these great times. Let's not just dwell on these awful feelings that you have right now with the team 1-5. All right, Kev, what do you have for us in Campus Confidential, knowing we have this incredible interview coming up in just a few minutes?
Yes, speaking of the Hoosiers, I wanted to get your take on this take of Rob Parker from Fox Sports Radio that is circling around, and see what you think about this.
Describe this championship. They beat the system. They didn't beat Miami. They beat the system. This ain't no Disney movie. This movie's rated XXX.
Oh, boy.
One you don't want to take the kids to see. I'm telling you, there's nothing good, pure, wholesome about Indiana winning the national championship. They're selling this like we reinvented the wheel. We made a better mousetrap that could catch 2 mice at the same time. It's a farce. They paid for a national championship. Other schools now, go look at your alum. Go find your Mark Cuban checkbook. You can do this too. Indiana, which haven't been relevant since Bobby Knight was kicking chairs and pimp slapping students around, this is not that Indiana. There's nothing special here. This could have happened at any school willing to put up $20 million for a coaching staff, $2 million for a quarterback, and guess what?
What?
Top 10 in spending on the players and going to the transfer portal, and any 27-year-old with 2 kids and a wife will gladly put them on the roster. That's how ugly this is.
Oh, man, I go on that show sometimes, I have to say, and I've known Rob for years, and he's doing the old he's having some fun, and he certainly knows, much like Stephen A. does, he certainly knows he's going to get under the skin of people like Kevin Hoosier Hall. Now, what he's saying, I get it, Kev, is wrong, and that's not. In fact, Cuban waited until like proof of concept. They didn't. That first year they went to the. They had like 20 JMU players. That wasn't some massive funding feat that got them to that first playoff. And then obviously they had a great year, but a lot of what they've put together is getting it right in the portal. And by the way, and the fact that Indiana had been horrible for so many years in football, that's the Disney aspect of this. You suddenly are a football power almost overnight. And this coach who's just kind of this magical, weird, quirky personality. So the talk radio part of me understands what he's doing. He's just going against the grain. And that is what he's paid to do to a certain extent. Is he completely wrong, Kevin? Yes.
All right. Now, what he's not wrong about, the numbers were just released, and Signetti earned himself an extra $6 million on top of his already existing contract this year in bonuses. Getting to the number of Big Ten wins, the Big Ten championship, and winning the national. He earned over $6 million in bonuses just on that.
Isn't that funny? And radio people, I used to have a radio guy that we were having a salary fight in Dallas, and he started trying to do all these incentives. If you're like top, 2 in the market, we'll give you them. It's like, oh, okay, fine. I'll go beat the other 38 stations, I'm sure. But, stuff that's like almost impossible to achieve. But Indiana, when they're putting all that down, obviously it's great news that he hit them all. But also, when they were putting that all down in writing, they never dreamed that he would hit every single one of them.
Exactly.
And it's like you always see those things. He could earn as much as whatever.
Right.
And you're like, well, that'll never happen.
Yep.
And in this case, it absolutely did happen.
And
I would be interested to know, like, what the amount would have been had they lost to Miami. Would it have at least been like 4.5 million?
It would have been 4. 2. It was an extra 2 to win the national championship. It was 1 just to get to it. So
it's massive money, and that's all great. But, to people like him, and I love seeing people like that become successful, and I hope he doesn't pull like an Ed Orgeron and then start, catting around, acting weird. And I mean, Orgeron was already weird enough. You gave him that national title, the enormous money. It went to Ed's head a little bit. I think Signetti will remain the same guy. Once you've kind of lived that life of Indiana, of Pennsylvania, whatever that school's called, and you've literally worked for nothing and you're sweeping the floors and doing all that, that's hard to completely get out of your system, no matter how much great money you have. So I sort of think, like, whatever, I think he was weird and quirky even when he was making nothing. So now he's just a rich, weird and quirky guy.
Right.
And now the only thing it could do is if he has some negative parts of his personality that we kind of see as lovable, when you have huge money, those things do tend to become more negative, So we'll see. But for now, we'll enjoy Signetti.
All that shows is how important coaching is in college football. We talked about it in our recap on our Indiana podcast, how absolutely important and paramount coaching is, even more than playing ability in college football, how much the coaching matters. But speaking of that, who is it that came out with their list of best college football players in America right now? I wanted to get your take on this list. Is there somebody missing from this list? How does this order sit with you?
Oh, this is for the way too early.
Yes,
next season's best college players.
Yep.
Right. I would say that, that's interesting. Carter Smith, he's a big-time player, and that running back is great at Mizzou. I've got the only problem I have with this list is that it's just way too offensive heavy. Is this supposed to be just the offensive best players?
Nope. You got 2 edge rushers on there.
On 3 didn't do. There's Colin. Yeah, there's the 2 edge guys. Okay.
Yep.
If you truly have the 10 greatest players in college football, you can't just have 2 defensive players. All these other guys, there's lots of bells and whistles. I'm glad we got at least 1 offensive lineman on there, the kid from Indiana. I don't know that we have any idea that Levitt's that good. And Dante Moore, when last seen, was looking pretty awful. So that may be a little high for him. I need to that kid from South Carolina, Dylan Stewart, I'm going to have to spend a little time watching that. I don't see the great DJ Lagway. I think DJ should be right in the middle of that thing somewhere. It's fine. That list is fine. It's just too heavy on who made the most money in the NIL and who put up the best offensive numbers. Like, after watching the Final Four, like, I'm now, by the way, I'm shocked that they don't have Arch on this list, Arch Manning, because I think we'll go.
Coming from my perspective,
by the time we start doing the look ahead mock drafts, I guarantee Arch is going to be top 5.
Coming from my perspective, why isn't Big Play Becker on there? All he does is catch deep balls and touchdowns. Charlie Becker. But
yeah, I guess
he's the college version of the Colts' Alec Pierce, where, Alec Pierce the past 2 seasons has the most yardage per catch average, and this season he had over 1,000 yards. But no one pays attention because it's a white boy playing receiver. But they good. I don't know.
I would say On 3 does not see color. Do not accuse them. Do not accuse them of that. Okay, what else do we have, sir? I like this. So far, so good.
All right, and then question then. This happened just after we were off the air yesterday, I believe. Gary Patterson becomes the defensive coordinator at South California, USC.
Southern Cal,
yeah. Do you think that is a good fit? Having maybe much experience on the other side with Gary Patterson, him at DC USC. What do you think about that?
Now, wait a second. I just want to make sure of something. They were saying last night yesterday that they were expected to hire him.
Okay.
I want to make sure that we have an actual, because I was in touch with him last night, and he told me nothing had happened yet because I was trying to get a hold of him, and I was like, hey, what's going on here? So come on. I just want to make sure something else hasn't happened on this front.
Maybe I'm premature. Let's talk about it hypothetically then.
Okay. All right. Premature by Kevin. All right. They've got medication for that, sir. I would say that, first of all, I'm biased. He's a longtime friend. I love the guy. He comes on with me all the time. He'll come on with me if this becomes official. I'm just saying, he was kind of mad at me last night because I accused him of going dark on me during this process.
Well,
and
Doug McNamee went dark on you, and look what happened. So
it's a good point.
Maybe read between the lines there.
There's just, as of last night at 6:25. And I didn't really report this because this is more, Gary's more of a guy that, I should put my reporter cap on and report exactly what he said, but I don't want to screw things up here. But he said there's nothing to it yet, was what he told me. So again, they may just be finalizing everything. I'll tell you what I do know about Gary. There was a shot a few years ago. Where was Hugh Freeze? Was he at Auburn? I think Auburn had some interest in him. And Gary's style with that match corners that he kind of basically came up with and he's known for, and he's kind of the father of that innovative. And that's when you match up with your corners like 4 across. I don't know. I don't want to get into all that, but it's called match corners, and he's kind of known for it. And as I recall, Hugh Freeze did not think that would work at Auburn. I'm looking back, it's like y'all should have hired Gary for sure. But this would be great. The Anthony Lynn was there, son of Anthony Lynn. Anthony Lynn played at Penn State, and he's become a really top flight coach. And then he left USC recently. That's why there's an opening. In the past, I would not have ever imagined Gary wanting to go work for Lincoln Riley. Not that he's ever said anything negative about Lincoln Riley. It's just a bit of an odd fit. The young, over the top, innovative. I don't think Lincoln's done that exceptional of a job out there. On the surface, it's an interesting one, but maybe it'll work. But that would be very exciting. And so to answer your question, Kev, I would be so happy for Gary to get him back in, because now he's been inducted or been entered into the College Football Hall of Fame. I don't think they can, he had to wait and be out as a head coach for 5 years to get into the College Hall of Fame. He's in now. He'll be in this next class. And so I don't think there's anything to prevent him from jumping back in here as a coordinator. I'd love to see him as a head coach somewhere, but I think this USC thing is of great interest. And so if it happens, I'm hoping to be in touch with him. And Kevin, we'll just break in and we'll share the news right here on the Mosley Show. Kev, what else do we have?
All right, last one here. The Coastal Carolina quarterback, MJ Morris, committed to Texas for next year, this coming year, after we mentioned Arch. What's the benefit to coming to Texas and playing behind Arch? Is it sort of a Dante Moore behind Dylan Gabriel situation? What would you say is the benefit to not starting, but knowing you're going to a place where you can maybe ride the bench for a year, get developed? He's in his junior year, so that would mean he would potentially become the eventual starter in 2027.
This is like their Jarrett Stidham. I mean, I think this is very smart. Go get, and it's rare that you can get somebody to do it, because all these agents and everybody's like, give me my money. How much money can I get here? How much money can I get there? It's if the guy is worth his salt, it's shocking that one of these other schools didn't pay him enough to go. Now, what do you think Texas would pay him to come there and basically have a redshirt season behind Arch? Has anybody said what they're going to pay him? Have you seen that?
No, I didn't.
Here's what my guess is.
His stats,
I bet. Huh?
His stats last year.
Let me know.
Just over 2,000 yards, 20 touchdowns, 15 interceptions. Sorry, that's in his career. Maryland, NC State, and Coastal Carolina.
It's his entire career?
Yep. But I don't know how much he started either. I would imagine maybe not at Maryland, NC State.
Well, we can look pretty easily. I would imagine, Kev, that they'll pay him $300,000 to $400,000 to come there and serve, and that just tells you. I mean, they're playing a different game, and they've got an enormous war chest there, and it's becoming. Boy, Doug McNamee has his work cut out for him, because while I like the class they're putting together in the portal class, this highlights how the UTs and the A&Ms, we've always known, like Baylor had to overcome that in 2011 or 12 whenever they got Art Briles by having a trick. And that was having one of the most exciting and greatest offenses in the country. They needed a trick. It's almost impossible now to just come up with a trick. Like the trick for Signetti was somehow building a real team almost overnight and getting his kinds of players. And the crazy thing is, he didn't do it with the air raid. He didn't do it with what Spavital was trying to do at Baylor or what Art was trying to do it at Baylor. He did it with line up, get a great quarterback, line up in a pro-style offense. Now, again, it's not like they don't have RPOs. It's not like the quarterback, because we just saw one of the greatest runs in national title. But that quarterback's not a runner. He's athletic. But Fernando Mendoza is not some kind of – Baylor faced so many people that were better runners than Fernando Mendoza. The backup at Utah, Bird Ficklin, my gosh, Sam Levitt, the guy at Auburn this year who had been at Jackson Arnold, like all those guys were way better runners than Fernando Mendoza. Mendoza's just an athletic dude. Let me tell you, in the NFL right now, those great young quarterbacks like May and Nix, he's not as athletic as either one of those guys. But I think he's got the arm talent and the leadership and some of the traits you got to have. Would I feel comfortable taking Fernando Mendoza number 1 overall? No. Not because I don't love him. It's just like, that's a hard one. That's a hard one. I'd feel way more comfortable taking Drake May or Bo Nix. But, of course, now I know what they are. I don't know that when Sean Payton and them took Bo Nix out of Oregon, like that this was going to be that he was going to, that Bo Nix, even Drake May. I mean, how are we to know that Drake May was going to be an MVP candidate in the second year of his career? It's hard to know these things, but here we are. All right. Is that it for campus? That was good.
It.
Hey, get me some C and B down there when you get a chance. I just love seeing it down there on that bottom. But that was the man, that is very nice. Look at it right there. Central National Bank, the home of the Nesbitt family, Brian Fonville, and all these new commercials that we're about to start running. We are going to have some fun with CNB. All right, here's what we're going to do. We've got, man, really proud of this one. We've got a major interview for you. Kev, you want to take a quick break and come back? I tell you what, we'll take a break, and then it'll be getting close to time to share the interview with Scott Drew of Baylor men's basketball, talking about the state of Baylor men's basketball and where he sees this headed. And the good news is he promises, he vows, we're going to win again. All right? That is next.
Ready for a better kind of primary care?
At Patient First Direct Primary Care, you get unlimited office visits with same-day or next-day availability.
And instead of rushed appointments, we take the time to actually listen.
There are no insurance hassles, just clear, simple care.
You can reach us by phone or text because access shouldn't be complicated. Our practice has expanded to include Medicare-age patients as part of our direct primary care model.
It's a fresh alternative to the traditional insurance or government-driven systems, care that finally puts you first.
For more information, go to patientfirstdirect.com.
It's time to start something new at Allen Samuels. Drive in with huge savings on all of our Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram vehicles. From a trail-conquering Jeep Grand Cherokee, towing in style with a Ram Heavy Duty, or cruising the city in a sporty and luxurious Ram 1500, we've got the perfect ride for you. Stop by Allen Samuels in Waco, where we make car buying easy.
Come by. Let's be friends.
Experience the future of secure private cloud storage with Internix. Protect your files with end-to-end encryption, ensuring your data stays private and accessible only to you. That's internxt.com today.
Welcome to Market XLS, your all-in-one Excel solution for investors. Designed as an enterprise-grade platform, Market XLS caters to investment managers, secure and efficient investment management and research. Book your free demo.
Experience with the Mosley MD hair regrowth kit was amazing. It was easy to use. It let me take off my hat. I could go in public and have my picture taken and feel normal again.
MosleyMD.com.
At 4U Health, we believe wellness and lab testing should be accessible, inclusive, and yes, fun. With our tech-powered at-home lab test, you save time and money while feeling your best. 4U Health. Visit 4uhealth.com today.
BadCreditLoans.com is a pioneering service provider that has carved a reputation in the financial industry. Simple, fast, and reliable loan application process. And its commitment to responsible borrowing makes it a trusted partner in the journey towards financial stability.
Unlock a world of convenience with Mully Box, your one-stop solution for personalized subscription boxes delivered right to your door. Each box is tailored to your taste. Mullybox.com. That's MULLYBOX.com. With a focus on performance, design, and customer service, we're here to help you work smarter, not harder. Join us on our journey to simplify your world. Visit acasis.com today. That's ACASIS.com today. Experience the perfect blend of exquisite craftsmanship and life-changing technology with Gevi. Every product is built with precision, featuring specialized parts that ensure durability, efficiency, and safety. Upgrade your everyday with Gevi. Visit us at gevi.com to discover more.
Oh, we're back, and it's the Mosley Show, and it's been a busy day with all the breaking news. I'm hearing from some of my folks in Eagles land about Christian Parker. Kevlet, there he is. I knew Kev would have it. Christian Parker, the new defensive coordinator for the Cowboys, first-time defensive coordinator. All my Eagles people said they knew it was a matter of time. He was going to get this opportunity. He had that Fangio, much like back in the day, Marinelli leaned on Eberflus back when he had a great reputation. Fangio started to lean on the young Christian Parker. It was time for Christian Parker to get to call his own defense, and he leaves the dreaded and hated rivals of the Cowboys, the Eagles, to come straight to the Dallas Cowboys. This marks a big-time change for Jerry Jones, who likes coordinators with that have been former head coaches, and it's the first one since 2013. Have to go way back. Monty Kiffin was the last one that had became a defensive coordinator for the Cowboys that had not been a head coach in the NFL. I think Kiffin actually was a head coach in college briefly back in the day, maybe at like NC State or something. That's somewhere in the recesses of my mind that stands out. Very excited today to share this interview we're going to have with Scott Drew. We'll break here in a little bit, and then we'll end the show today with 30 minutes with Scott Drew. And I think you'll really appreciate it as Scott leans into what's going on with this Baylor program, what happened when they lost Rob Wright, and what happened at guard. And man, the more research I sort of do on this, it is a bummer, because if they had only known sooner the whole Rob Wright that he was going to leave, man, there were guards that were really, really excited about coming to Baylor. And it's maybe a little unfair what we're being to, because what happens is when you have a player leave, then there's more pressure put on other players. And the guy they got from Oregon State, Michael Ratai, that we thought might average somewhere 15 to 20 points a game, it has not worked out. And in fact, in conference, he has averaged 8 points a game. And they like him, but I think the thought was he would be not in sort of a leading role. And they kind of need him in a leading role, and he doesn't seem capable of doing that. Now, I've got my Lake Highlands, my high school, my local high school. I got my coaching hoodie on today. I kind of feel like a coach since all these coaches are getting hired. There are some head coaching jobs that are still out there as we speak. We know Coach Stefanski has been hired. We know what the Titans ended up doing. We know what the Giants did with Harbaugh. There are other coaching openings to fill, and in the coming days, we'll have more and more on that. But the Cowboys have hired Christian Parker as their first-time defensive coordinator, and man, this is going to be kind of exciting to see. They generally like to have people with a lot more a lot more experience, play calling. But hey, after 4 in 4 years, and after failing with Zimmer and Eberflus and Mike Nolan, and by the way, the last two, not totally those guys' faults. Eberflus, as bad as it was, as horrible as they were this season, it's like the 7 days before the season, oh, sorry, Matt, you're not going to have Micah Parsons. You're not going to have your best defensive player. And Diggs is going to wander around just doing heaven knows what this year. And Deron Bland might be ready, might not be. Siobhan Ravel will not be ready. Overshown will be ready maybe around midseason. Good luck. Get in there. And by the way, we're going to hold you to a high standard. All right. So was Eberflus good? No. Was it all his fault? No. Also no. So there is that. Offensive coordinators were being hired today. I do believe we had in one of these roles, did I see Kevin, Zach Robinson, the old Atlanta Falcons offensive coordinator, has ended up with the Bucs. Does that sound right to you, sir? We've had a lot of breaking news today. I believe I did see that come across my desk at one point. So that is oh, and we had the news come out. Yes, that is right. The Bucs, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, hired former Falcons offensive coordinator Zach Robinson, the old quarterback from Oklahoma State, and he was not brought back in Atlanta following the firing of Coach Raheem Morris. They did, by the way, bring back their defensive coordinator, retained their coordinator Jeff Ulbrich, and so this will be very, very interesting as he goes to Tampa. Buccaneers fired first-year offensive coordinator Josh Grizzard earlier this month as part of an overhaul of the coaching staff under Todd Bowles. Tampa ranked 21st in the NFL in total offense, a drop from number 3 in 2024, and saw its scoring drop from 28.6 points per game last season to 21.4. What was the difference? Well, you might recall a young man named Liam Cohen who went to Jacksonville and had a really nice season. In Jacksonville. So Todd Bowles said of Zach Robinson, Zach is one of the bright offensive minds in our game. And during the interview process, I was very impressed with his plan for getting the most out of the talent we have on that side of the ball. Now, back to this Cowboys defensive coordinator. Show him one more time. We just cannot talk about this. And I'll take a break here in a second, and we can get to Scott Drew. Scott Drew will join us after the next break, and a lot to share, a lot to say about what's going on with this Baylor team. Really enjoyed my conversation with Scott. It's not where it needs to be. They're 1-5. This is not good. This is Christian Parker. Cowboys fans, this is your new defensive coordinator. Cooper, DeJean, the defensive back, the other cornerback, Quinyon Mitchell, all these guys are giving him like huge praise for what he has accomplished in his time with Fangio. This strikes me. I saw young secondary coaches come along under Bill Parcells. One of them was a young defensive secondary coach who really wanted to kind of take over the defense and was starting to butt heads with the defensive coordinator, which was Mike Zimmer at the time. That was a young secondary coach by the name of Todd Bowles. Todd Bowles, now the head coach of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. We were just talking about him. This coach, Christian Parker, is very young. This is unlike Jerry Jones, but hey, 30 years they hadn't been to an NFC title game. Let's give something else a chance. Let's take a chance on somebody. He comes from a great coaching tree. He's part of the Vic Fangio group. All right, Fangio embarrassed the Cowboys when he was with Denver. He joked about how easy the Cowboys offense was to defend. Then he went to the Eagles. Now, Cowboys split with the Eagles this past season. Let's not act like the Eagles just shut them down this season. But he was part of Vic Fangio, and the players swore by him. And the thought is that he is innovative enough, bright enough, all the things he needs to be. And the big thing the Cowboys were making a huge deal on was communication. We have to be able to communicate. All right, one last bit of breaking news coming out of the transfer portal. And I appreciate this. Kevin always does a great job of monitoring things for us while I'm blathering on about whatever. The former Missouri edge rusher, Damon Wilson, and he was ESPN's number 9 overall player in the transfer portal after being a second-team All-SEC honors. He finished 3rd in the SEC with 9 sacks and led Mizzou with 12 quarterback hurries. He's committing to Miami. He's going to Miami. Wow, the Hurricanes replace, at least one of their edge rushers, the great Ruben Bain, the great Messidor, who some people have going to the Cowboys with a 20th overall pick. Here comes the Missouri edge rusher, Damon Wilson, headed to the Miami Hurricanes. You think they're paying him anything? What's an edge rusher going for these days? Oh, I don't know. Number 9, edge rusher in the portal, Miami, about $2 million, I would say. About $2.5 million for Damon Wilson. Now, some of these teams may have spent a lot of their allocated portal dollars. How much do they have left? It is funny how some of these schools always seem to find more when they need it. All right. So I would say best portal classes. This will shock you. Tech, Indiana, Miami. All right. University of Texas, Texas A&M. Oh my gosh. Shocking, right? Now, is there any school that has had an incredible portal time that is not up there with those schools? Well, Baylor Bears having a top 25 type portal class. Let's give them some love. Speaking of love, the head coach of Baylor basketball, none other than Scott Drew, joins the Matt Mosley Show next.
When Central National Bank decided to partner with Baylor women's basketball, we were hoping Coach Collin would bring that championship mindset to do whatever she has to do to take our workplace culture to the next level.
Well, these donuts are pretty good.
Guys, how we doing?
We're good, Coach.
Craig! What are you doing?
What do you mean?
You have to dunk it.
So far, I think our employees are really enjoying it.
Not everything's a basketball thing.
Did you say something, Craig?
No, ma'am.
That's what I thought.
Dude, I think she likes you.
Central National Bank, proud partner of Baylor Athletics and Baylor Women's Basketball.
Introducing Muck-Off's classic pink bike cleaner, powered by revolutionary nanotechnology that breaks down dirt and grime on a microscopic level while protecting your bike's delicate finish. us.muc-off.com.
At Open Goal USA, we're revolutionizing training for both soccer and lacrosse with our innovative portable rebounders. Perfect for players of all ages and skill levels. Visit opengoaalusa.com and elevate your training today.
Looking for tickets to the hottest shows, games, and events? Ticket Liquidator is your one-stop shop for great prices, no hassles, and guaranteed tickets. Whether it's sports, theater, or concert, for the best seats at the biggest events, start with Ticket Liquidator today at ticketliquidator.com. Ticket Liquidator.
Send money abroad in just a few steps with Remitly. Sign up with your email, enter an amount, choose how your loved ones receive the money, enter your recipient's information, select a payment method, hit send, and relax. Download the Remitly app today.
Hi, I'm Mitch, the co-founder of Cake, a sexual health and wellness company designed for today and designed for you. Yes, you. The entire product line can be found at hellocake.com, and it's also available in every Walmart near you.
The Matt Mosley Show right here on the Rogue Media Network. And Scott Drew with us, fresh off a new haircut. Scott, are you someone, it seems like guys use their own clippers occasionally. I have certainly, you can see this pompadour. I do not do that. I actually go and occasionally, even though it doesn't look like it, I go to the barber or the whatever you call it. Do you go to the barber, or do you have someone at the house?
2.5 on the side. Like all I know is we've lost a couple games and we needed a winning haircut. So that's the key to success right there.
Yeah. Do you when you're in a bit of a dry spot, which you guys are right now? Obviously, the Tech game the other night didn't go your way. Is there anybody? Other than consulting the Lord, I've seen the size of the Bible on your desk, by the way, so I feel like you've got some pretty good references if you need them. But do you reach out to your dad? And that may just be normal winning or losing that you guys talk, but is there anybody you've kind of leaned on? Because this is quite honestly something that's, Baylor fans are not used to at all, a 1-5 start in conference. And unfortunately in this conference, while it offers lots of opportunities, it offers lots of tough opportunities, Yep. Is there someone you reach out to during times like this?
Yeah, I'm blessed because we got a lot of guys that have gone on and been successful from here, and they know the Baylor family, and they know our situation. So the great thing about being done playing Texas Tech right now is I can talk freely with Grant and Rim and Chris and all those guys on that staff. They can tell me their scout report. I can tell them what we tried to do, and we try to help each other. I think obviously you got Coach Tang and Coach Driscoll and everybody at K-State. You got Coach Jacobs, Coach Mills. So I mean, there's Bill was only here a short time, but he offers perspective as well. And when you've been in coaching long enough, it's probably like in any sport. There's highs, there's lows. The more experiences you can draw on, different fresh opinions, thoughts, anything that possibly is helpful. And that's one thing that I think we're really blessed to have people that care about Baylor, want to see Baylor do well. Obviously they're helpful.
Fans have a way in media, we start looking at big picture, like, it's like already ready to move on to, okay, what are they going to do for next season? You don't have that luxury. This is the team you have. You got to see if you can kind of turn this thing around. I know you had to be like incredibly frustrated the other night because I was in the arena and I saw it happen. And you and I have both seen some unbelievable shooting displays. Lace comes to mind, one time up at Tech, I think he had one of those halves, kind of like what Atwell was doing the other night. But I know it's got to be a humbling, awful feeling when it's like you're calling timeouts. And there's like nothing you can do. That was an awesome shooting display, 14 of 19 from 3. I don't know if anybody's ever done that against Baylor, quite honestly. When you watch the film, as dreadful as it might have looked and felt, what did what did you see? Did you see guys? Did you see enough effort? Was the effort there and the execution wasn't? Did you just see guys just unbelievably hot from distance? I guess you saw a combination of that, but what jumped off the screen at you when you took a look, especially at that first half?
Well, I think the first couple shots we gave them were too easy, and once you get into rhythm and you have that confidence, then the harder shots become easier. Rather than you want them start opponents off taking tough shots, not getting into rhythm, not get going. Obviously, schematically, a couple breakdowns, and that's where this team's been. The one thing is they've fought hard, they've been resilient, and they've competed. I mean, we won 11-5 on the offensive glass, so it wasn't like we weren't competing there. We only had 11 turnovers, which you can win with that number. Offensively, you shot 49%, 33% from three. You can win with those numbers. No matter what the opponent, the free throw defense, I mean, at the end of the day, nobody's guarding you on the line. They're called free throws for a reason. And, I mean, you can't win big games shooting 50% from the free throw line. So, this team's worked really hard from the summertime to now. And we've been better more than we've not been better at the free throw line. But that seems to be a contagious bug where some games were 17 for 20 and some games were 10 for 20. And you miss front ends of one-on-ones, those are like a turnover. So, again, the margin of error in this league is not great. With us, it's not great. So all those things matter. Again, I think Grant and Texas Tech showed tremendous maturity from the standpoint. They had a big win against BYU. They have College game day coming up, and the game in between is not at home. And they came out and, as you know, to go 14 for 19, even if there's no defense.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like their threes were on the line. Most of them were 2 feet, 3 feet behind the line. So they made shots. And again, some things we schematically without getting into the intricacies, the first zone possession, we weren't matched up how we wanted to be matched up. The closeout threes, we weren't close enough to our man to close out to make a difference. Ball screen switches, we wanted to stay above the three. I mean, just different things like that when you get in the course of the game, there's going to be always slippage. One of the challenging things, because as you said, Baylor fans aren't used to being 1-5. We're not used to being 1-5. But I think the learning curve playing in big games. I mean, we had 3 games, top 15 teams at home, and sometimes in bigger moments, you tend to have more mental breakdowns. We're actually we've done better since TCU to now, I think, overall, with just execution and adapting to the physicality in the Big 12. But again, any game slippage, we could play well, and if another team plays better, they might be a better team. But we have to control what we can control, and we got to get better with that. And again, that's the exciting part of coaching. Every day is a new day. You can be great yesterday, you can be terrible yesterday. Today you got to go 1-0, and as long as you're playing, you're controlling your own destiny in the Big 12. So unlike football, I mean, we have a conference tournament. So in the conference tournament, you win the conference tournament, you get the automatic bid. So, I mean, as long as you are playing, you have a chance to control your destiny. And no one's happy right now with 1-5. But at the same time, it's a great opportunity to see what we can get done with the rest of the year. Obviously, you said big picture, and I mean, you're always planning for the future. And I think the one thing based on probably the last year or two before that, we want to get more size, more length. The one thing we probably didn't want to neglect and was we've had great guard play and experienced guard play. And I think Obi and Isaac have done a good job, but both of them, I mean, Obi played 1 year, half at point at Wyoming. So he's done a good job trying to adapt to that. And Isaac, 1 year of college and adapting to that. But I think, again, helping them as much as we can, simplifying what we're trying to do. And as guys get used to playing with each other and whatever system because we'll keep tweaking things until it actually works, you know? And I think, again, last game, 14 assists, you can win with that. So guys are trying and they're getting better. We just got to speed that process up.
Yeah, and like you say, planning for the future, I doubt you'll ever allow yourself to be caught at guard like this. We all know you had a great guard. Another team ended up paying him more money. And so I think one of the things you'll need to do, you'll want more money into your program. In this era, you can't have enough, right? And then I think you'll probably tweak your evaluation process and that you're probably some of those conversations have already started. Tell me real quick, what's Doug been like? He's new not new to us because we've known him, but he's new as the athletic director at Baylor. I would imagine some of those conversations have already started. Hey, we got to pump more money in here. We got to look at how we're doing things. What's Doug been like overall, especially kind of during this rough start to conference season?
Well, I think what you said is Doug gets the big picture, and the big picture is how do you become successful in business, and that's not just a 1 year thing, but how can you sustain success? And each and every year, I can tell you that everything starts and finishes with me. Any missed evaluation, that is on me. Anybody that surpasses the evaluation, then I guess we get credit. So it's like if anyone's ever played the stock market, what you're going to find is nobody gets them all right. And hopefully you don't get them as wrong. The one caveat I think to that is injuries affect everybody. And you have to have enough that if you have injuries, we wanted size, we wanted length, we wanted depth. And unfortunately, you might plan on one season-ending injury, but you've lost Bodo, you've lost MP, and you haven't had JJ for most of the year. I don't think people plan on three guys being out. And again, I think that would have been year to date. One of the strengths of our team would have been our depth, and we haven't. And maybe with guys playing so much basketball nowadays, maybe you need to plan on two season-ending injuries. Maybe with the modern medical technology and ability to find things and fix them, but that also probably leads to more people being out. I mean, maybe that part needs to be tweaked, but I think definitely I'm humble enough to know that I don't have all the answers, and every year, hopefully, I do a better job in fixing things. I know excited to see where we can finish this year. And then obviously excited to see in the future. We're used to having a chance to we get in March Madness, anything can happen. Final four teams have gone to the Final Four. Obviously you want to be a top seed, but again, if you look at the consistency of our program, we're one of three teams to win a game in the tournament since 2019, us, Houston, Gonzaga. That's pretty good. Us and Houston are the only top three seeds in the NCAA tournament, I believe 4 out of 5 years. So, I mean, we've had a lot of success. Right now, we have not had success this year. That is my fault. We've made mistakes. And then we've had some unfortunate incidences, again, with having three guys out for 2 for the season. And hopefully we get JJ back here at some point. But you live, you learn, you get better. And nobody feels more disappointed when fans come and we lose games than us. And I can promise that, because when you've been in the community long enough, they're not people are friends and family. They're not transactions. And so, again, I think everybody can relate out there. You don't want to disappoint family or friends. So I can promise that nobody will ever feel worse and try to do a better job or learn from our mistakes than us.
You're not the first top 10 type program to have a rough year. I was trying to think the other night. I had a lot of thoughts sitting in the stands in that first half. But I was thinking, Scott, about like even with Hubert, and maybe I'm trying to think if it happened with Roy, but UNC and Duke have both had a couple of down seasons where they were just out of commission and may have missed the tournament. So again, I don't think when you're going through this, I think you think you're the only like elite program that's ever been through it. I'm sure that crosses people's mind, even the fans. Mm-hmm. I don't think y'all are the only team that's faced something like this. And it happened even to Sean when he was at Arizona one of those years. Let me ask you this, though. A guy like Ratai, the thing is, when you pay them money and they're supposed to be like big-time players for you, the way players are viewed now, it's a little different animal, because now people are like, this dude was brought in here to kind of be this, and he's not that. Let me ask it this way. A guy like that, who obviously has a great attitude, and I can tell you really like him, but like, does he start to press the numbers that you were needing from him? Probably, I would say he's off from that, especially in conference. And I've even heard some of your quotes, because I almost can sense that you're trying to kind of lift his spirits, but the shooting is not what it needs to be. It's not what you expected. How do you kind of manage that when a guy is not meeting expectations, but you need to try to keep his confidence there and see what you can get from him?
Well, I think that's probably one of the toughest things. And with the portal, with NIL, I think the pressure on young people, we talk about graduation rates from changing schools or doing whatnot. I think the pressure's on younger people nowadays, and this doesn't. Mikey's got a great family. He's got a great inner circle, but I just think the pressure on so many players, because if you look at it, a lot of them, it's not just they're making NIL, but you got agent pressures, you got family pressures, and it used to be you went to college, and if you didn't have a good year, you got the next year, and you're building for the future, and it wasn't so much pressure to perform. So that following year, you might get this or that, and I would think the mental part of things, and making sure players mentally are doing okay as a coach, probably is at an all-time high. And then with that, I think that's what's great about sports, is it prepares you for success and adversity the rest of your life. And that's what life is. I mean, there's ups and downs, trials, tribulations. What's your foundation? At Baylor, the great thing is you're preparing champions for life. It's spiritual, it's academic, it's character formation, and it's athletic. So hopefully when they face trials later, they persevered here. They've had a team around them. They know they're built on a solid foundation. And I know I'm giving a long-winded answer, but I think you had said there's a couple teams. I virtually, again, you can look back, and in the last 10 years or 15 years, you're going to have, with more movement, you're going to have more highs, more lows, more pressure on young people. And I think we're all trying to figure it out, because there's no book on it. And I think one thing that I've learned, obviously, is retention is so important with your key guys. If you look at the teams right now at the top of our league, a lot of them have 2 or 3 of their top guys back. So they've been in the system. and they know what's expected. They've been through, the coach knows what they're going to do. They know what the coach is going to do. And I think it's with as many transfers, it's probably, you're going to have probably more, I don't know if you want to say hits, misses, however you want to put it, but there's just an adjustment period, and some adjust quicker than others. And I mean, I think that's something that all goes into this equation, and it factors into everybody. And what I mean by that is, if you're in a good place and maybe grass isn't always greener on the other side. And so it's a long-winded answer. I'm giving you probably more problems than solutions. I know with us, again, you'd like to retain your top players. You'd like to build around that. And then you got to prepare for multiple injuries rather than maybe just one.
All right. And talk to your lawyers, Scott, because, I mean, I now see in football all kinds of lawsuits, and when players leave and after they signed a contract, there's some lawsuits. And one notable player left you, I don't know, maybe too late on that one, but it is interesting. You talk about how things have evolved. What I hope is, go ahead.
What I hope is there becomes a standard where when you do sign, because what happens is when you sign somebody, now everyone else that's interested in coming, they go somewhere else. And so now if someone leaves, you don't have backups because your backups are gone. And so, I mean, anyone that's going through it knows that it's the hardest thing is signing someone and losing them rather than never signing someone. If you never sign someone, you got options to choose from. So hopefully whatever the rules are, they stabilize to where when you sign, there is, and maybe it should be a standard buyout. Maybe it should be dollar for dollar. Because again, another problem in recruiting is if little Mosley wants to go to 3 schools and one says there's a buyout and 2 says there's no buyout, the agent's going to say, well, remove your buyout or we're not going to your school. So like there has to be a standard set of rules where whenever the finish line, and that was the great thing about the National Letter of Intent back in the day, when you signed the National Letter of Intent, if you got out of it, you're sitting for a year. So nobody got out of it. And when you signed a guy, you knew what to plan on. And I think that's what it's just fair for programs. It's fair for fans. It's fair for everybody that whatever it is that you plan on. And again, that if it's not in the rules, then it is what it is. But that's part of like every and the NCAA, again, like they would love to be able to make rules that they can enforce. And that's why if it's collective bargaining, if it's Congress, whatever it is, the sooner we get to it so everybody knows. I mean,
yeah, I mean, absolutely. I mean, you offered a kid a lot of money and he had committed. And so that is something to remember. You know, it's interesting. I was just thinking when we were talking about transfers and evaluation, in some ways you wrote the book on transfers. And it's like, I think about Davion and Flagler and Bridges after him. Honestly, Ray J was a great point guard who's played some of in the NBA. So, you know, but again, that there was some level of that's changed immensely because some of those guys sat out. That's the old world. Let me ask you this though, for people that are like, okay, what's on the way at Baylor? Like Iguodala, Mayo, you know, like some of these guys that over the years we would hear about guys in practice that couldn't play for you yet. And like, oh my gosh, you should see this guy. Is help on the way? Like some of these young guys, what are you seeing from them in practice? And are they going to be able to help you next season?
Well, I can say there's always exceptions to the rules. Most people that come to Baylor, they love their experience and they want to be here. And so I think our retention, as long as because at the end of the day, NIL is NIL. And if the NIL is similar, we're going to retain who we need to retain. And then with that, Baylor has a niche. We'll always bring in people that will represent our program and fit well. So I think the best thing to do is always look at a track record to know what the reality is moving forward. That gives you the best indication. We've been successful more than we've not been successful. We will be successful. If it's this year, if it's next year, as far as building up people, the last thing you want to do is build up someone and then they're not here, which again, like when you knew Epe Udo was sitting out, you knew he was playing the next year. So like as a coach, you just temper what you say as well, because
that's a good point.
You don't know who's gonna, but what I can say is I think that's the simplest thing to, if I was a fan, have they been good in the past? Yes. Do I trust they'll be good in the future? Yes. We will get who God needs us and wants us to have, and that's all we ever pray for. And we will always retain and bring in quality, because at the end of the day, Baylor is a great institution, and it's as Doug said, it's one-on-one. But our preparing champions for life, I mean, we have a niche. And then at the end of the day, most players want to play in the NBA. In the last 5 years, we've had the fourth most drafted, and we're the only school to have a top 19 pick 5 years in a row. So, I mean, if the NIL is close, we're gonna be fine. And when I say fine, we will win. All right. I don't know if you'll win the last game, but we will win. With that, again, I think the caveat is you always want to build in depth. And then you're always, no matter what sports team, if you take out one or two cogs, I mean, we just played Texas Tech, and Grant's a great coach. Christian Anderson and Toppin are great players. If you take one of those out, that team's probably different, you know? And I can say that for every team we play. And so you to win it all, you probably have to avoid having a key one or two guys injured. Otherwise, I mean, do the Patriots win their Super Bowls if Tom Brady's not quarterbacking? I don't know. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Do the Bulls win if Michael Jordan doesn't play? Well, I just know the 1 year he didn't play, they lost after the first round of the playoffs. And then the three previous and the three after, they won it all because he played. So, I mean, when you win it all, you look back and say, God really blessed us. Because look at how it aligned and how and that's what makes sports. You have to have some of that.
All right. Well, listen, I appreciate it, and it is fun. You know, when you're in a rough spot, you get all kinds of folks reaching out to you. It is cool that you have that network. I did try to help Jacobs the other night, one of their games against Temple or somebody, and I told him, I said, this kid, this left, he goes to his left. He's always trying to finish at the rim with his left. And Jacobs texted me back, and he said, well, thanks, Mosley. He's left-handed. like I had really discovered some stuff, you know. So anyway, it is a fun community, and everybody kind of helps each other. Scott, I appreciate it. And, you know, big game against TCU. You know them well. Posey, obviously. I mean, they got David. They got the big punch is another really good player. They honestly just melted down at Kansas. They should have beat Kansas there. That would be a huge win for you guys.
Well, I mean, Coach Dixon always does a really good job in giving his guys a chance to be successful. And you look at it, they could have won at BYU, could have won at Kansas. Those are two of the toughest places to play. That's all you got to say about them. And defensively, after the first game, we know how good they are. And again, Michigan, one of the most talented teams, at 13 points at their place with 7 minutes to go in the first half. So we know it'll be a great game. I don't know about the weather. The good thing is the students can walk across. I know you would have to drive across, but with your skiing experience and everything, I don't know how you'll get here. But
too soon. Still
and you know what, Mosley, too? You know what you love is that Baylor fans care and are passionate. Yeah. And so fully understand and get the frustration. And again, working on trying to put smiles on their faces.
Yeah.
Make it a good experience. So,
and if you get down a little bit, remember, these are the same fans that were like dying that you were thinking about leaving, right? They were like losing their minds. So yes, they may be frustrated now, but these are the same people who were like, their lives were going to end if you left the program. All right, Scott, I appreciate it. Great talk as always. Have a great rest of the day and go get the Frogs on Saturday.
Sounds great. You be safe with that weather up there.
Okay, we'll make it down. We got snow tires. I'll put some chains on the tires. I'll be fine. There he goes. Scott Drew, the head basketball coach at Baylor University. That is the show for today. It is the Mosley Show. We'll see you tomorrow at 1:00.
If you want the best for your body, you want Ascension Providence, the largest sports and orthopedics group in Central Texas. Using innovative and cutting-edge technology, we're able to understand your body better than ever, delivering treatment with precision. And with our fellowship-trained and board-certified doctors, you'll receive excellent care. Work with a team dedicated to your health, wellness, and safety.
So you can perform
at your best.
Ascension Providence, caring for Texas families for over 120 years.
When you strive for greatness, you have a target on your back. And when it comes to finances, we're all targets for scammers. With the right game plan, you can protect yourself. Don't get faked by fraud.
Here's a tip. No reputable company or government agency will ever ask you to pay them with gift cards, Bitcoin, or a person-to-person payment app. Scammers use these options because the money can't be traced. Just don't do it.
This message is brought to you by Central National Bank.
It's the Restore Clarity Focus Patch, my little secret weapon for staying sharp, focused, and on task. Each box comes with simple instructions inside, so you always know exactly how to apply it. Each patch lasts for 3 days. I love that I can wear it all day.
Boy, it looked effortless.
Man, watch this.
Layups, floaters, threes. He was like an unsolvable equation.
I was born like this.
His resilience, his strength, his belief, adversity never stood a chance.
Know your power.